sources of problems that emanate from election is when people lack the confidence in the process, the impartiality of whoever is managing elections. Now, setting of an independent agency specializing in election administration is a very important step taken in the governance process of this country, because it will restore the confidence of the participants and all the stakeholders in the process. And we have seen since the advent of the Second Republic, our elections have been very smooth. You cannot say it is violent-free 100%. That doesn't happen anywhere. But comparatively to what we see in other countries, elections in the Gambia are generally very, very peaceful, and they are considered free and fair.
The playground, many were convinced, could never have been leveled.
You campaign freely, sell your manifesto without any hindrance or any problem. If we give a political party A 10 minutes to the television, we'll give B 10 minutes to the station 2. They all go out and sell their manifestos. At the end, a date is fixed for the election. Nomination is done to all political parties that want to stand for that election, like the presidential election. And then on election day, all the political parties has their agents in all polling stations, counting centers, collation, and the main office where the chairman will declare the results. Their agents will be there. They have to satisfy everything, sign everything. This is why election in the Gambia is always free and fair.
Establishing the office of the Ombudsman as an administrative oversight body also points to the government's resolve to entrench the culture of good governance within the civil and public service delivery system.
When an individual has a problem with the whole Department of State, this is a single individual versus the whole machinery of a state. If there is no independent and impartial person to look into the issue to decide whether the interests and the rights of the individual were wrongly trampled upon or otherwise, you see, usually the outcome, it doesn't favor the employees. And when employees' rights are being continuously trampled upon, it leads to dissatisfaction, low performance, and you can name them. So the creation of the Office of the Ombudsman also is a very, very big achievement in the area of administrative governance for the Second Republic.
The body has a broad mandate to investigate and recommend redress measures in disputes between employees and employers in public institutions and public enterprises.
During the First Republic, this institution did not exist. That created a very serious lapse, a very big gap, because if I would refer to our mandate, which covers all public institutions, the ministries, government departments, parastatals, and all institutions, organizations in which government has some interest. Bearing this in mind and taking into account that, well, there is no human institution that is perfect. So we do have errors, we do have problems. There's problems of administration, mismanagement, and in those days there was nowhere that we could go to seek redress.
The 1997 Constitution reduced the voting age from 21 to 18 years, a provision that has enfranchised a cross-section of the youth population. This is a broad-based and more inclusive approach to governance and participatory democracy.
This does not only increase the volume or the number of people participating in the democratic process, but it gives voice to the voiceless, that is the young. The number between 18 and 21 is significant, and their voices, their opinion need to be heard. So it's very, very important. It has put us, standardized us across the world. We belong to the same standard with the rest of best practices around the world, but also it has included a great chunk of the Gambian society that were earlier on excluded in the First Republic. So in that respect, it is a big credit.
Administration of justice is an indispensable feature of a functioning democracy. In the Gambia, the judicial system has incorporated into its fold traditional and alternative methods of resolving disputes, in order not only to help offset the backlog of cases, but equally make the justice delivery mechanism more functional, accessible, and equitable.
What we are trying to do now, and with the support of the executive government, is that we go around the regions to identify buildings, rehabilitate them, and set up high courts, magistrates courts, Kadi courts, children's court in all the regions. In the next 6 months, most of these courts should be operational.
Government established the Alternative Dispute Resolution Secretariat, not to only expedite the dispensation of justice, but to equally give justice a human face.
Most people, are getting aware that there is no need. There are certain civil cases, there are no need you going to court. Because if you come to the ADR, we do it in our own African way. We call people to negotiate in between them. And there is that confidentiality. It's unlike the courts where, everybody standing saying all things or whatever about the other party. So we do things in confidentiality, and the time it takes us is very short, unlike the courts. So I think it's helping, especially in the rural area. Disputes, family disputes, land disputes, debt recovery, and all that we do it in the center here.
Even we recognize that amicable settlement of disputes helps to build societal harmony and reduce cost of disputing. So, and encourage peaceful resolution of dispute, thereby strengthening the peace and harmony of the community. So government has demonstrated its support for alternative dispute resolution mechanism by setting up the ADR Secretariat.
It is an institutionalized alternative redress system that has the mandate to investigate and adjudicate in certain category of disputes.
The ADR Act is clear. It sets up the Secretariat and establishes the mechanisms for appointment of conciliators, mediators, arbitrators, and the rest of them. Therefore, so far they are doing a good job. They are setting up structures in the provinces to sensitize people, to make them realize the need to use such mechanism, encouraging amicable resolution of disputes, encouraging people to live in harmony. So it's very restorative, and it's one of the most potent good governance mechanisms in terms of justice, true justice delivery.
It is quite a good development by the government helping the poor people who cannot access the high court with sort of money, and they prefer to keep it silent to themselves without making any noise. But with this thing, it's quite a good thing. Within this region, they are quite aware that is exactly what they want. And I think, if I'm not making, all the chiefs know that. So each of them are now coming back to the ADR proper and even asking questions from us. When we investigate, we come back, we discuss this thing, we bring in conciliation, and then if we cannot solve it, we negotiate again. If not, then we go to mediation, which we think it will stop there.
So we have, backlog of cases in the courts, both civil and criminal, and then ADR is coming in, helps to reduce that backlog of cases. So we started here very recent, but of now we have almost 10 to 15 complaints that we have in hand.
Devolution of authority and power is an important feature of the system of checks and balances in a modern democracy. State authority has been devolved through regional governors as direct representatives of the president, and further down the hierarchy are district chiefs and then village heads, otherwise called alcalos.
The office of the governor is the seat of government at this level. So if you decentralize, you are strengthening that very good office. And the essence of decentralization and good governance is for the people to, at least information reaches the people. The people's development is driven by themselves, and that is happening. All the institutions that are in Banjul, are here. We have all the offices here: agriculture, education, area council, forestry. all government institutions are in